friends, this is the proudest day in the history of Fort Worth and Tarrant County.
Jim Wright was my mentor and many other people in Tarrant County politics mentor. And Jim Wright had the personality and the ability that he knew everybody and everybody knew him.
I think of Jim Wright as a carpenter. Jim Wright's a builder. He spent his whole life trying to make his country better, trying to make his community better. When I think about this community, there's so many aspects of it that he helped shape.
The physical changes that occurred here as a consequence of his leadership in Congress, his work on DFW Airport.
That was not a friendly fight. And it takes not only leadership, but it takes understanding of the other side.
He also left his mark on bringing defense work to Fort Worth.
That huge piece of our history, our aviation and aerospace, would not be here if it were not for the Speaker having fought diligently for those programs.
His legacy will be that he loved Texas, he never forgot where he came from, and he never lost his humility and his common touch.
Texans respect.
And every time that Jim Wright was going to take to the floor, the gallery was full.
He dominated that scene, and it was so impressive that you saw thousands of people that were supporting him.
I want you to let me give to you the next 30 years of my life. And if you do, I'll promise only that I'll do my best to make you proud of it.
It's easy now to think of the inevitability of all that happened in civil rights. It wasn't inevitable. People were physically afraid of what would happen if they stood up for civil rights. Jim Wright had the courage of his convictions and said, this is not right, and we need to change it.
It took a lot of courage, but had it not been for men like Jim Wright that were willing to say, this needs to end. We need to advance humanity for all mankind. Where would our country be today?
He wanted us to be better, and he helped us to become better. And I think we're all in his debt because of that.
To me, that's a great trait of a leader. You're always telling people, here's what we can do. We don't stop here. But you do it honorably, and you do it without hurting people. And you build on their best in order to achieve what you consider to be best.
You start seeing history and see all the things he did, and he was a giant then. He did things and pushed things through that we couldn't do today.
Jim Wright was a staunch supporter of a strong national defense and ultimately working with then-President Reagan to establish a defense superiority of the United States over the Soviet Union was one of the reasons why the Soviet Union fell and why the Berlin Wall opened, why there's an end to communism today.
You know what he was? He was a unifier. We're having such a problem today. We're not getting things done. We don't look good to the rest of the world. That would never have happened under Jim Wright.
Times change, but Jim's done it always with class, and he still does.
I'm glad to be here in Jim Wright City.
Even after he moved into a high leadership in Congress, Jim Wright never forgot the people of Fort Worth.
He speaks for Fort Worth, he speaks for the country. And I don't know any city that's better represented in the Congress of the United States than Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the pride of Texas and the nation, Jim Wright.
I know that we have magnificent opportunities which are greater even than the peril.
Speaker Wright, on behalf of the city of Fort Worth, I'd like to personally thank you for your lifetime of service to this great city.
You've left a lasting mark in the hearts and minds and spirit of so many of us.
And we very much appreciate all that you've done.
You're a treasure for Fort Worth. We're a better city because of you.
But your friendship is more than that.
And I thank you so much
for being a wonderful mentor to me.
And the way you have touched my life and the life of my family.
And I want you to know, I, among all the others, thank you very deeply.
Many, many thanks. You know, I love you.
Well done, good and faithful servant.
Fame is a vapor, popularity an accident. Riches take wings. Those who cheer today may curse tomorrow. Only one thing endures: character.